and good evening. It is I, Nicholas Preston Michell. I am inside my shell. Nicholas Preston Michell. I am inside my hell. I am Styxxoplix, a member of the experimental hip-hop group The Prophets of Rage, whom have released 2 albums, Unite or Perish in 1994 and Zen Gravy in 1997, based out of K-Town, Germany. I am also a member of the Hyperactive Zombies, an experimental hardcore band. Also, part of the original lineup known as Misterioso, based out of Cocoa Village, Florida. I am also a member of the Cool Mountaineers, alongside my brother, Dr. Cosmos. I am also a member of the Land Pirates, the Vagabonds, and the psychedelic blues rock band Petrified. I am also the co-founder of the Enlightened, Open-Minded Skeptics, Equal Opportunity Management Services, the esoteric order of magical societies. Enlightened, to simply be here now, to know that nothing is absolute, that infinity is never finished, a timeless striving for perfection, to have reached the Godhead, to seek the truth, the never-ending thirst and quest for knowledge, complete understanding, clarity of thought and action, connectedness with the higher self, the authentic self, awareness of all, open-minded, to take things into consideration, to listen, to be receptive, to allow room for new ideas and thoughts. Skeptic, to take truth, to discern truth from bullshit, to not give in automatically, to make sure of things. Enlightened, open-minded skeptics. I am influenced by Dadaism, Surrealism, Shamanism, Hunter S. Thompson's Gonzo journalism, Saul Williams slam poetry. But tonight, I bring you a new genre, catalog, category, whatever have you. Styxxoplix is Zip Zop, the telepathic, telekinetic teleporter. Beware the coming of Zip Zop, the future of riff-rap poetry. Zip Zop, the zany cytologist. Zip Zop is careful construction and spontaneous composition at the same time. Zip Zop is freestyle improvisation meets instant gratification civilization, not to be confused with bebop, jazz, or hip-hop. Zip Zop is a new movement of expression. My first piece is called Judge Not. Judge not, for the Lord works in mysterious ways. Love needs some serious praise in these delirious days. I be in the curious phase, open-minded with the skeptical glaze, enlightened with the spiritual plays. Don't be frightened by the lyrical blaze in the miracle maze. There are many yesterdays and many tomorrows, but there is only one now, is the hysterical phrase. Feel the mystical rays. Place your bets. Believe me when I say I'm not an atheist or agnostic. I process quick on the obsessed flip. Religion is on a lost trip and it's costing us chips at the wheel of reality rips. The menu is not the meal. The map is not the territory. The mystery cannot be penetrated. History is one as generated. So prove it and demonstrate it. I levitated while walking on water turned into wine. Everything gonna be fine. God is something you cannot define. Need I remind you of what is true? It happens out of the blue. I spit infinite literature for sure. I got the cure. Don't worry, it's pure. Perfection injection. 86 the next election. Find a new direction. Love is an evolution of solutions for the temporary pollutions of institutions. Confusion is not the conclusion. Aha is the answer to your question. In fact, it's your best bet. Get set. Now let's end this discussion with the whoopee cushion. Keep on pushing, but judge not. My next piece is a piece on synchronicity, inspired by Carl Jung, Alan Watts, Terence McKenna, Bill Hicks, Jimi Hendrix. In my vocabulary laboratory, conducting wordplay experiments, preparing the entire audience for the ultimate experience, the great synchronicity events will provide the undeniable evidence that we all share this moment we call the present tense. For now is our existence. The epiphany becomes intense as you realize that finally it will all make sense. There is no such thing as no such thing. The last hour will bring the age of eternal spring. Spontaneous evolution will come into full swing. Who would have thought that it would have happened so suddenly? It wasn't me, it was the secret recipe for alchemy, transforming the collective consciousness chemistry. Let me demonstrate the infinite possibility and explain the complexity of the mystery, and put to rest any uncertainty about our origins and purpose. Human history shall come to manifest the message of mythology at your service. A new era of peace and blessings will occur instead of wars and curses. My earth people, we are all universes in the great synchronicity event. For my next piece, the pros and cons. A wordplay on the prefixes pro and con. No problem, only contribution. Expression is my profession is the conclusion. No confusion in the process, obsessed with concentration. The proper prodigal contemplation on obstacle complications. The professional in confrontations and keen observations. Prolific with the constant elevation. Productive, constructive, the prophet of creation. Controller of cremation. Professor of conversation. Contrary to popular belief, we are only here for a brief history of time. The mystery of the mind makes us both dig and climb, but we're just clones of consciousness in the champion contest. I spit out confessions in the subliminal conquest. Philadelphia experiments and Montauk projects. The products are concepts, programs, conflicts, and contracts. These are the facts. Nothing protects the contents, but I rock on like continents with progressive confidence. I got it covered like condominiums in the last days of the apocalypse. Blackout, total eclipse, critical condition of the last decision. Presto pronto with precision, the pros and cons of the transition. There are benefits and side effects to division. Life is more than just a contact sport. It's a spontaneous strategy of sorts. Yes, life is too short. Everybody coming and going, just like an airport. The pros and cons. For my next piece, we have freedom. Me, be is I is be, me. Unity within the family equals telepathy. The main use of technology is to bring together all the peoples, like the Doors and the Beatles. Break on through to the other side. You got to enjoy the ride because all you need is love. When you got that, we all get to grub. Imagine no religion, no country, no possessions. Imagine life with the basics and the essence. School systems don't even teach you life's lessons. How to grow your own food, how to make your own products. Instead, we worship money, idols, and objects. Sex, drugs, and music. These things, you think the government refuse it? Overconsumption got us running on empty. The fools that we be, it can't last for eternity. We will all begin to see that we all need to be free. We need a resource shared economy. Don't want no low-wage slavery. Work your way to the top so then you could sell your soul on the spot. Forget this world and the society we live in, and I ain't gonna stop until everybody gives in. Freedom. For my next piece, we have a piece inspired by Beat Generation jazz music called Jazz Gun. Madman made moods. Meticulous mingus fingers in the fungus with the fables of Faubus among us. Moaning to the moon in the meantime. Swimbling down the Fifth Street in a fresh pair of swishies. Pushing the limit past mass hallucinations in my last conversations with the wishies. Daydreaming about genies and leprechauns in the marathon of rat racers. Cat chasers in the dog day afternoon. Playing with the tune in the tiny room. Reminiscing about demolitions and premonitions. Stumbling down the tumbleweeds in rumbling fashion. Dancing in step to the percussion while having a discussion with a concussion. Confusion had reached its conclusion in the improvisation visitation. Sloppy jazz has that filthy pizzazz with Monk Hat and mild shade. I smiled and played the funk back to the stinky sweat and armpit trumpets were blasting away along with eyebrow pianos. The mustache violins elbowed their way through the long-haired concert dress in fancy flesh. The girl with the guitar was far beyond reach in the peach sunset. Hairy harmonicas and weeping whistles got past security and sabotaged the stage with perfect synchronicity. The instruments never sleep. Ask me again as clever creep smiled sinister in the sanctuary. Thank you very much for keeping in touch. Ask me again another time. Maybe, baby. Now get some rest. The best is yet to be. Our work is never finished. The curtains closed as the lights diminished in the jazz gun. My next piece, is called Late Night Notes. The insatiable appetite for neon lights on the streets of delight and delirious lyrics engulf the night with hunger at skyscraper heights. The city is starving. People sleepwalk on the sidewalks chalked with coked outlines in the fast lanes. Gas brains light up the last flames in the games and names drawn from the box of flashbacks. The executioner's axe. Guillotine girls flash their razor-sharp smiles with quick wits and true grit too grimy for prime time. It's rhyme time, random riff rants by destiny of chance as we dance in the dandelions and rise with the roses and yoga poses, chanting Chattanooga choo-choo with the voodoo priests from the far east. South Pacific to be specific, Filipino headhunters collecting trophy skulls in the jungle of juxtapositions. Just you listen and see the seven seas at turbo warp speed. I feel the need to read, spin the wheel to breathe in the brotherhood mothership kingdom. Boredom and desperation sink in the painful inspiration. The blues let loose. You're on fire! So be water, my friend. It is like a finger pointing to the moon. Madness consumes. It's too quiet. The wind is the first thing that brings you back to reality in one stroke of a joke. You poke your head out to see what's the commotion. You're in the ocean with the other tortoises and purple porpoises who have no purpose but to swim in the grim depths. Slept too long but woke up too fast. Breakfast in head, naked lunch instead. Dinner with clothes on, in the mood for nude food. Ghosts with no names. Unmarked graves. Vibrations and waves. Particles. Sloppy tentacles. And so I got that going for me. Yeah, so far so God. Speak of the devil. Cat got your tongue? Frog in your throat? Did I get your goat? Like a bat out of hell. You smell that? It's natural as opposed to normal. We're all looking for that portal, that light at the end of the tunnel, that friendly destination, that place we call home. Late night notes. This next piece is a piece I wrote in the middle of the night, woken up by a stranger. It's called An Unusual Visit. Regardless of the previous rejections, the writer returned to his pen in reluctant fever. Paradoxical scenarios raced through his mind faster than he could put them down on paper. How could he prove that nobody was listening to his thoughts? Paranoid at the thought that secret agents at play had implanted a surveillance device at his brain behind his eyes, the writer duct taped his eyes shut in hopes that those watching would think that the device was broken. The writer waited in vain for someone to break through the front door to take him away from his work. On his desk were stacks of books ready to be read. The Act of Creation and the Ghost in the Machine by Arthur Koestler. The History of Western Philosophy by Bertrand Russell, the book on the taboo against knowing who you are by Alan Watts, and a recently purchased copy of the oversized red book by Carl Jung, which has just been urinated on by his purple cats, Presto and Pronto. A Mario Bava film marathon was on television that day, and Danger Diabolique was playing at the moment. There was a knock at the door. The writer's heart jumped in his throat as he took a pregnant pause before asking, "Who is it?" "You know who it is," answered a dark voice. "What do you want?" whispered the writer. "All of your writings, of course," said the stranger behind the door. "What impossible nonsense is this?" exclaimed the now shivering writer. "Open the door," the enigmatic voice replied. Sweat was now dripping into the writer's duct-taped eyes as he slowly rose up and fumbled around to unlock the door. As soon as he opened the door, the unknown person ripped the duct tape from the writer's eyes, and he found himself staring directly into the eyes of his own self. The writer's dropped the pen he was holding in his hand and gasped for breath. "Your writings," said the man who looked exactly like the writer. "Give them to me now." The writer hurried over to his desk and grabbed a huge pile of papers. The writer quickly handed everything he ever wrote to this himself. The visitor took the writer's life work into his hands and turned around to exit through the doorway, slowly walked away and shut the door behind him. The writer's visitor never returned. An unusual visit. This next piece is a singing piece. So please bear with me if I sing out of key. I'm on my own, so alone, got no home to go to, got left out, got left behind, nobody pay me no mind. This time I'm gone, messed up inside. Find me a place to hide. Roaming the streets of the city, in my pit of pity, in my pit of pity. Feeling sorry about my luck, thinking about how much life sucks, how much life sucks, and I don't know what, because I'm on my own, so alone, got no home to go to. This is the ballad of a lonely man. Wouldn't expect you to understand. This is the ballad of a lonely man. You done everything you know you can. Don't know what's real or how to feel. Now I'm lost at last, so don't even ask what is up, what's going down. Don't bother to come around. This is the ballad of a lonely man. Wouldn't expect you to understand. This is the ballad of a lonely man. You done everything you know you can. I wasted time, wasted years, wasted mine, wasting tears, 'cause I'm on my own, so alone, got no home to go to. The Ballad of a Lonely Man. My next piece is non-linear alignments. Just a couple of cold turkeys drinking coffee in the afterlife. The first forest of the fiercest sorcerers was just seconds away as the day began to die, and night was born. The light was torn from out our eyes. We despised the darkness at once, but we soon grew used to the abuse, and we were now afraid of the light. They tricked us into believing, so I'll be leaving, because I is living, and me is loving every moment of movement, from the Dada to the postmodern futuristic slick wizard with my hand on the leash of a lizard twice the size of Godzilla. The surreal thriller from Manila, or actually Angeles City to make it exactly, approximately 11 seconds from total telepathy in your proximity. The point of singularity, plus the fact that I like to build abstract structures strictly for the street scientists and the 12-story laboratory buildings. I was wide awake, yet completely exhausted. The bananas melted on the soft watches, destined for disintegration. A line of ears. Non-linear alignments. For my next piece, Wet Death. Lava in the lungs, purple sorcerer tongues, tones of guesses, nicknames and fake addresses, Dr. Drive, Saint Street, I paint over the beat, unique, undisputed, Rasputin puking on the jukebox. I'll have a wet death on the rocks with purple socks, purple dots, a circle of spots, Sputnik sport, teleport, Elminster the sinister, Mr. Be hitting you with hidden history. Behind the scenes and dreams in the grand scheme of themes, them's us, they are died. Fried Flintstones, baked Jetsons, the wet suns, Desperate Esperanto pronto, the head honcho, exclusive, obsessive with the turbo boost, supercharged drill sarge, El DeBarge of the bards. Give my regards to the guards of the Guardian. Give my regards to the guards of the Guardian? No. Give my regards to the guards of the garden. Graveyard stardom, kingdom of conundrums, bum doctors in the doldrums of the slums, slam dancing with Scarlett Johansson, romance in the storm, in the culture of steam, stream of consciousness patterns shattering the symposium of thought, with randomodium at the podium in the opium den, dinner with Christ and Buddha at the center of self. Enter the self. Symbiotic symbolism, madman metabolism, a dry life deserves a wet death. The voice of breath, splattered purple on the platinum platypus known as Plotinus. What do we got in us? A whole lot of jizz on the canvas, purple jazz, laughter in the afterlife, moon pipes. Go ask the man in the mask at the bus stop about the city of wet death, right in the middle where I left. Wet death. For my next piece, psychedelic pelicans with pellet guns. Over there, you can see extremely extinct fish growing on forgotten trees. Rotten apples swim nonchalantly in the river of delirium. Murdered children play with their decomposed toys on the bridge of blasphemous hopes. Idiots watch them play from the top of the hill of maggots. Weird bards sing backwards with upside-down violins and try to sell imagination to invisible aliens hiding in the air. Sunday waits for Monday to take over the weak-minded. Psychedelic pelicans with pellet guns. For my next piece, craving for creativity. The bombs walked in, shedding their skin, wearing nightgowns, exposing toothless grins. The missiles were in command of the onslaught of Starfleet awaiting behind the hidden moons. Frogs jumped out of people's throats at the gates of hell, interrupting illusions from coming waves of emotions, overwhelmed the thought process, preventing progress of any kind, blind to mankind and its deeds. The rhyme bleeds, cut open by the poets, dissected by critics in the afterlife. I belong in the before death category. Meet you in the next one, and don't be late, said a friend I haven't met yet. Anyway, where were we? In the midst of it all, under a microscope on the cosmic laboratory table, determined to escape, desperate, hungry for freedom, craving for creativity. Hate your hate. Doubt your doubts. Be skeptical even of your own skepticism. Like I said, I'm addicted to wordplay. I eat alphabet soup all day. I don't care what you nerds say. You think you fly, but I make your bird stay like a dog do. You get dumped out the trunk like dog do. Dude, no way you want some unless you a genius idiot that's mad dumb. You the scum of the slums. You at the bottom like bums. You settle for crumbs. I'm heavy metal like guns. My puns will leave you quiet like nuns. Your head gets spun like a meth addict. You get hung like flowers in the attic. This is the anti-battle rap. Matter of fact, your eyes get blown out like cataracts. I'm addicted to wordplay. Life is not a rehearsal. You only get one take, there's no reversal. The pioneer is controversial. Humanity is not a commercial, so take it personal. I break it down to the biological, physical, but we can take it to the spiritual with my lyrical mental that is virtual. reality of the ritual, the invincible individual, that's incredible. The end is inevitable, but the internal is eternal. Life is not a rehearsal. Endure until the end. Hey, slow down, not so fast. I'm the first and the last, a blast from the past. Be here now, the future has arrived. Nobody survived. Everybody died. We tried in vain to know our brains. We gotta grow up and chop off the chains, the pleasures and pains as we strive to maintain and reach a higher plane without going insane. My mind is in a pit full of pit bulls. It's pitiful how we ridicule each other and call each other fools. We all competed and got defeated, then eventually got deleted. Now all we want to do is repeat it. Energy supplies have deleted, hairlines have receded, and the universe is finally completed. Infinity is never finished, but the stars have diminished. How have we managed to balance the rational and the savage? It's going to take the right kind of leverage to get to the next age. It's totally outrageous how we grow to love our wages and cages. It's time to connect on very personal levels. Give no thought to the corporate devils, the eternal rebels, inciting the final riot, the anarchist diet. Endure until the end. For my next piece, for my last piece. Painting pain ain't plain. To express, but not necessarily to entertain. To confess, but not necessarily to complain. Sometimes to maintain is not sane. These feelings that no container can contain. To break away the chain and never feel the same as we end the game from whence we came and exchange our real names. I am Styxxoplix, Nickholas, Preston, Michell, also known as Dr. Documenter, the abnormal immortal photo professor, psychedelic sorcerer, at your pleasure. Thank you, and good night.